Table or truth?
Because next, what you gave me was you had concerns about the FBI and their thwarting of domestic terrorists, and you hadn't heard anything. So I did some research.
Oh, yeah, please. Yeah, because if I recall in the last episode, this would have been, officially episode 3, although there's going to be a bunch of sub bits of this.
Episodes.
Yeah, we've done officially 3 full podcasts.
What if this ends to be episode 10? Then you've named this episode 4.
Well, not necessarily, because I classify them as 3-1, 3-2, 3-3.
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing. So people with a moderate background, not even in STEM, I think can figure out that, one full podcast, add episodes 1 through 6 or 7, right? And then or sub episodes 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. You get the idea. So I'm sure people will figure that out.
Okay, so I will discuss quickly, and I'll just go with, and again, we don't know everything that law enforcement and the FBI have thwarted, because some of it does not become public.
And I appreciate you taking the notes for this. May I just remind everybody what the hell we were talking about last episode? So we were discussing how there is a growing concern by the powers that be that there could be some domestic terrorism going on. And I think I made the quote-unquote tinfoil hat claim that there doesn't seem to be enough domestic terrorists to justify this level of surveillance, I think is what I had said. And then you had mentioned, what about like the 2 or 3 people that tried to attack Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan? And I think there was another Yahoo that tried to attack some other government official. I forget who it was. And then I said something like, yeah, that's a total of maybe 4, maybe 5 or 10 people altogether. Should the entire nation suffer for such a small percentage of, Nudniks, if you will, that were, you could throw them in there under domestic terrorism. I think you threw in also some of the January 6th protesters. I agreed that those who broke through the windows of the Capitol building were definitely out of line, a huge majority of the people that were just in the vicinity of that event, I wouldn't necessarily call them domestic terrorists, but some people like to throw them to that category. I don't think that's necessarily fair.
Who threw anyone who was outside the Capitol and did not enter the Capitol, with the exception of
friends of mine here in central Massachusetts that happen to be a little bit more liberal than, let's say, conservative, without watching the full measure of all the stories going on, where for some strange reason, it could have been the news, led to believe that anybody that was in the Capitol building lawn was culpable of being a rabble-rouser. And I don't know if that's fair.
Rabble-rouser is not a crime.
No, I don't. I agree. And so
they could have been designated as a rabble-rouser.
Yes.
And what difference does that make?
Well, let's take the QAnon shaman situation, right?
Yes.
There was actual video footage that was showing that this guy was pretty much led into the Capitol building. If he was such a threat, like a supervillain with his cool buffalo hide and everything, the Capitol Pole would have been like on him right then and there, cuffing him. But they actually kind of almost toured him around the building. He's almost joking. I mean, this is caught on film. He's almost joking with these guys or just like jiving with them. And then he did something bizarre. Like he said a prayer or something, like in the actual White House, the Capitol, Senate, Congress area, right? Led around. He seemed harmless enough, even though he was eccentric. I'm not saying that he, technically, I guess it's B&E, but then the Capitol Police kind of let him in. So I don't understand.
B&E.
Breaking and entering.
I'm sorry for your audience, but I understand what B&E is, but what he did was he was part of disrupting an official, and forgive me for not having the term at hand, an official proceeding, which was, again, the counting of the electoral votes.
Yep.
Right, and that's an official, again,
but why did
proceeding, which is illegal.
Fine, but why did the officers just let him tour around the building?
there were questions overall as to how so many people could do disrupt, defecate inside the Capitol.
Did people defecate inside the Capitol?
Yes,
Really?
yes.
Wow, that's messed up.
And again, the Capitol cleaning crew had to clean that
That
all
would have
up.
been a crappy day. No pun intended. I'm just saying.
There was also destruction of property, stealing of property, things like that. And guess what?
Yeah.
Almost everybody just got to go home, which we've never seen quite like that before.
Well, they were all on camera, so you could pretty much figure out who was who at that point.
How do you figure out who was who?
Well, if there's cameras in the entrances of all major,
right? Well,
like entrances of the
FBI,
building.
and again, looking at all the video and trying to track who's what and where, and there were a plethora of white hats that scoured through all the video and figured out who a lot of people were, and then sent that information to the FBI to help with their investigation. But again, anyone who entered the Capitol building committed a crime.
That's okay. That's understandable based on the legality of what happened. But then why did the Capitol Police allow certain individuals to just come in? Not all of them did it. Not all the Capitol, but there were checkpoints where apparently they were like just kind of like traffic cops.
No, there was no waving of the hands.
There was no videos of that.
No,
no.
Of them waving people in. No, didn't happen.
They didn't try to like stop the mob from, Davy Crockett style Alamo.
There were others that were standing by doors as people were floating in, but they weren't waving them in.
Let me ask you this. Let's pretend that you and I were Capitol Police.
The whole thing with a mob, where you would have individuals who by themselves would do nothing. But you get them with a couple of people, and next thing you know, they're jumping off.
I agree.
They're turning over
mob
cars.
Mentality.
Right, the mob mentality. So the question is, from law enforcement, when you are outmanned, what do you do about that?
Well, okay, I'm going to put myself in this situation because I've thought about this because I watch way too many zombie movies, and in a World War Z scenario, I say to myself,
Who was the star of World War Z?
Brad Pitt.
Very good.
Thank you very much. Who directed all the famous Dawn of the Dead movies, Day of the Dead, that kind of stuff. You remember?
No.
George Romero. But
very good.
This isn't a trivia night, so I apologize. The fact is, I'm just trying to recreate. I'm Capitol Police. Okay, let's say I have to relive this, right? I see a mass of individuals, and depending on my political views, reprobates coming at me. And my job, my damn duty is to protect this building at all costs. And you're not allowed in here. So I get my megaphone. You're not allowed in here. Please stand back. You've been warned. And everybody all together is like, fuck you, right? And I warned them 3 times. Because I'm like, you are not allowed to trespass. I'm assuming there's some video, some audio footage of them doing this. Going, this is your last chance. While the crowd is still like a good 30 feet away. Like in Lord of the Rings, before the orcs scale the wall, there's archers, right? You can see them coming a mile away. I mean, there's things you can do to kind of, I would think if you're Capitol Police, if the Capitol is getting invaded, you probably ran some rehearsals for this kind of thing. So you get the bullhorn out. That doesn't work. You fire a few shots in the air. Stand back or you will be shot. In all fairness, if you storm through that Capitol building and you've been warned multiple times, you will be shot, right? You may go down with the ship trying to defend the Capitol building, but that's your job, brother. I'm not necessarily trying to be callous towards the Capitol Police. I'm just trying to make sense of what's the protocol here for this kind of thing.
So you believe that the Capitol Police should have used their firearms on the crowd?
Well, this is a great question for the audience, actually.
No.
Me
the question
personally
is for you.
If my regrettable duty, okay, it depends on what the job description is, and this is
No.
Wait.
Wait.
If I'm a soldier, yes. If my job description is, and this isn't my personal beliefs, this is me doing my damn job. Okay. I'm not trying to put the blame on the Capitol Police here. I'm simply just saying, if my job is literally as a patrol guard, stand back or you will be shot. I would think like those, you have to obey that rule. Otherwise, what good are you as a guard? If there's a zombie epidemic, are you not going to shoot back?
Yeah, but if there's a zombie epidemic, you're not going to make an announcement to stand back or I'm going to shoot you.
If you see a mob of people that can't be reasoned with, that are clearly lost their minds, because let's just be real. If I'm a hardcore antagonist against any of these individuals that are coming up and having their protest on the Capitol lawn, I see them as basically mindless, irrational people that can't be reasoned with. I'm not saying I do personally. I'm just saying it's either one or the other. These individuals can be reasoned with. Therefore, you get the bullhorn out and you say multiple times, you are not allowed to pass through here. We understand your concerns. Please do not. I am required to shoot beyond this checkpoint. Please be warned. I don't think people can really blame the patrol person if they made that claim. I don't see how you could, because they're warning you.
Well, that's exactly what happened.
So they did do this. So there's footage of this.
No, the one officer who shot the protester who broke and climbed through the window with Republicans running 40 feet behind him, shot one shot, and no one came through that door.
That's what happens when you shoot somebody trying to trespass through.
Right.
So were they in the wrong doing their job?
I say no, but
I don't. If that's their job description, I mean, you can't go to Buckingham Palace and like.
But he was vilified by President Trump and MAGA.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that's necessarily functional, because you're right. Like, if that's your job, you can't really get mad at him.
Well,
I'm not, dissing the guy. I'm just like trying to make sense of it, right? So the problem is that, like, yeah, you got a mob of people coming in. Okay, let's just recreate this. If that's my job, I guess that's my job. I may not like it. You think I like giving people a $200 fine for a dirty car?
Yeah, but you can make judgments, and you have to, on whether or not you will charge someone for the condition of the car if you so see fit. If you think that there is a reasonable explanation why you receive back a dirty car, then by all means you are allowed not to violate this person.
Well, I would never violate a person, man. That's messed up. But yeah, I see. If you like the show, don't be one of those people that say you like something. Like is a verb, and so is love. Share the show with someone you love.